Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Now, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Shalom to the elect. This lesson is about Iran. Now, in 1935, Iran was called Persia. They changed their name in 1935. Their name was called Persia. Look it up. Google it. Now, this underground missile city being revealed in these last days is an action and a sign by the Most High. This just ain't happened by coincidence. So when you go into Ezekiel, let's look at the prophecy he gave on this. In chapter 28 of Ezekiel, he shows how these Persians would be a major factor in the battle. We're going to get right to it. 38 verse 2 says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. So, the land of Magog and Gog is the same thing. You see, it just renamed, it just stated a different name. Gog, the land of Magog. You see, the chief prince of Meshach and Abad. So really, he naming one place. He not naming a bunch of places. He naming one place. And so, when you look at where that is located on the map, you will see that is Russia. Russia over there in Turkey, all in that area. Those are the Russians that run that stuff. And so, when you go down to verse 4, he tells you, Ezekiel 38, and I will turn you back, or thee back. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. So he's telling the Son of Man to prophesy against the Gog, Russia. Then, when you get to verse 4, he's saying, I will turn you back and put hooks in thy jaw, and will bring you forth, and all of your armies, your horses, or your tanks, your horsemen, your soldiers, and all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them with swords or weapons. Then in verse 5, he lets you know who else he's going to involve. Persia, the Iranians. You see, it's very specific. Persia, he's going to bring them forth. He's going to draw them back. Ethiopia and Libya with them. All of them with shield and buckler. He's going to make these people go to war. Handling swords. Handling swords. Gomar is in that area where Russia is, and all his band. The house of Tagomar of the North Quarters. All these people is in the north. And all his band. And many people with thee. Verse 7. Be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So these are the peoples he gonna bring forth. And so it's already being started with these individuals collecting nuclear weapons. You see, because they're not getting these nuclear weapons for nothing. These nuclear weapons are being given to them so they can use them. So let's go to Isaiah and certify the situation for what it's all about. Isaiah 54. It says in verse 16, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy. So he letting you know he's created these weapons. And to know that it's a weapon, the next verse say, No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. So he's forming these weapons, and they're not to be against the Israelites, the elect of Israel. It's not to be against them. It's to be against these heathens and these wicked individuals that got the children of Israel in slavery. Now, let's back that up. Let's back that statement up. Who is these weapons made for? When you go to Zechariah, when Zechariah got his vision during the rulership of Darius, he told him specifically what would happen to these people that put the children of Israel in captivity. Now, the first chapter of Zechariah, starting at verse 18, he said, Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, 4 horns. And I saw the angel that talked with me. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, What be these? And he answered me, These are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. So you got these red dragons over here in Europe, over here in America, that scattered in the islands, that in South America, they scattered the Israelites on slave ships. Verse 20 say, And the Lord showed me 4 carpenters. Now one of these carpenters is Persia. Persia is one of the main players that's going to bring down these dragons. You see, you got Persia, Gog, Russia. You got their allies, China and North Korea, that got major weaponry. And verse 21 going to show you what these carpenters is going to do. Then said I, What come these to do? What these 4 carpenters going to do? He said, and he spake, saying, the angel saying, These are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man can lift up his head. But these, speaking about the carpenters, are come to fray them, meaning to destroy them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles. That means these are Gentiles, that those 4 horns that put us in slavery, cast out the Gentiles which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it. So these 4 carpenters is going to blow these Edomites to smithereens, burn them in the lake of fire. Now let's get the lake of fire. Okay, where we at? Let's get the lake of fire, because this is what the situation is all about. And I'm going to get right to the point where the lake of fire While we know the nuclear missiles is the lake of fire. Chapter 20. These dragons came out of the north country, out of Gog and Magog. That's why it's called the bottomless pit. It's not at the bottom, it's at the top. It's less at the bottom, it's more at the top. And pit means land. It's a north country. It's a top land. You see? And in 1492, when the Renaissance, they came out of that north country, that north top land, and they went and got the Israelites and put them in captivity. So in verse 9, it tells you what's going to be the end result of the situation. Verse 9, in Revelations 20, verse 9, it say, and mind you, let's jump back up to verse 8 because it's so beautiful how I went to that verse. Verse 8, it said that, let's go to verse 7, Salakia. Verse 7 of chapter 20, when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Okay, we ruled for 1,000 years up in that north country, and then Satan was loosed out of his prison in 1492. And then verse 8, and shall go to deceive the nations which are from the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, you see, to gather them to battle. See, that's what's going to end up happening. Gog and Magog is going to go at Russia and these other nations, China. They going to be being gathered together because these sapsuckers came out and put us in captivity. And verse 9 going to let you know that's what it's talking about. It say that Gog and Magog was gathered them together to the battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So it's telling you who they're talking about. The Israelites was at the sand of the sea. And Hosea 1 and 10 tells you that. Verse 9, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints. The saints are the Israelites. Psalms 148:14. And Psalms 50 verse 5. The saints had a blood covenant with the Most High. They surrounded or they compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city. We was the beloved city, coming down adorned as a bride. You see, in the next chapter it's gonna state that, but it say, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. So that's that lake of fire. God is gonna cause Gog and Magog to shoot nuclear missiles over him because this is his weapon. He created them for his purpose. So he's sending these missiles. You see, he's going to cause Gog and Magog to send fire from heaven, and it's going to come and devour these four horns, these Edomites, the devil, the great dragon, Satan, who came out of the top country in 1492 and put the Israelites in submission or in slavery, and they gonna get burned with nuclear fire. In verse 10 it tells you, and the devil that deceived them, they deceived 2/3 of the nation of Israel, was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, which the beast and the false prophet are. So the fire came down from God and created a lake of fire once it hit the freaking ground. And the Edomites who had us in slavery, they was on the ground with the nuclear fire. The fire went under the ground, and they was murdered and killed, and then they went down there under the ground where the fire was at. The fire came from heaven and devoured these dragons. The devil, these dragons. Let's go back to 19. Revelation 19 and 19. Because this is not no devil. This lets you know who is being devoured. Because it tells you the beast and the false prophet is these red dragons, Edomites, so-called white man. But 19 lets you know what the battle was all about. Revelation 19:19, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. So they was trying to fight Yahushua at the same time. They trying to fight Yahushua. They trying to fight each other because he gathering them together. But they thinking they gonna fight each other, but they gonna end up fighting Yahushua, because when you look at Revelation 17:16, it say the 10 horns which that thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. So they gonna hate these four. They gonna hate the whore. The whore is United States of America, because United States run all these European countries. You see, they got Hollywood, they got everything over here in the United States of America. So this whore, his own peoples, is gonna hate they gonna hate the whore. Where I left off, the 10 horns that you saw on the which you saweth upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and these shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they gonna shoot the nukes over him. So you not only do you have Iran, that's where you get the other 3 carpenters. Magog is gonna be shooting nukes over him, and even the European nation, the allies of America, is gonna be shooting nukes over here. Cause see, they was all in on one team until the Most High put it into their hearts. The verse 17 of Revelation, God put it into their hearts to fulfill His will. So He gonna cause the European nation to turn on America. And see, that's what Obadiah was talking about. They thought everything was good. See, America think they everybody they friend, or everybody scared of them, but the Most High gonna put it in these people's hearts to attack America. Let me get Obadiah. Let's see here. There we go. Verse 7. Obadiah chapter is only one chapter, but the verse 7, it say, all the men of thy confederacy. The confederacy was all of these 10 horns that was of dealing with America. America was riding on these horns and controlling these horns. But then verse 7 say, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread. See, when you say they that eat that bread, that's what Trump was mad, because he was giving aid to all these countries. And he said, I'm going to stop giving aid to you sapsuckers. And they got mad about that situation. They still mad about it. It say, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So the people that was with America, the main head of the Edomites, they gonna deceive the Edomites, and they gonna prevail against they gonna deceive America, and they gonna prevail against America by shooting missiles over here and burning America to smithereens. Babylon the Great, the mother of all whoredom and abomination on the earth. You see, and that's what the conclusion is gonna be. These America being totally destroyed, and these other Edomite nations being destroyed also and taken into slavery. Let's end it with the slavery, because that's really the conclusion. 1,000 years you got to serve in slavery. Revelation 13 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And the next 2 verses tell you who he's talking about. It say the 2-horned beast that spake like a lamb, that was like a lamb, and spake as a dragon, who exercised all the power of the first beast. So this America exercised power over all the other beasts and all the other Edomite nations. And God gonna turn them other Edomite nations over and destroy these sapsuckers for putting us into slavery and keeping us in slavery, because in America is where most of the Israelites is dwelling. The tribe of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, Ephraim, they over here in America being oppressed by the Edomite, the so-called white man. So I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, and Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace of the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.